Now, the Jame to Justice Ghana coalition is urging the government of Ghana to contact the Gambia government to claim the 600,000 US dollars compensation allocated to the victims and survivors of the 2005 massacre of 44 Ghanaians and other West African nationals, in accordance with the directive issued in the Gambia's white paper on the Gambian Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission's recommendations. It's been 2 months since the Gambian government accepted to pay the compensation. Now, what's the plan and timelines in effecting the payment? Project manager of the Jame to Justice Ghana coalition at the Center for Democratic Development Ghana, Regina Oforiwa Amanfo, joins us live with more. Thank you so much for joining us, Regina. How many victims and survivors are to receive these compensation?
Thank you very much for having me, and good morning to your listeners. So, in all, the West African migrants who suffered unlawful abuse, killing, are over 56, and among them, 44 are Ghanaians. So we have over 56 people who are supposed to benefit from the reparation.
Where and how are they at the moment as we speak?
So for us at CDD Ghana, Jame to Justice Coalition, we have this majority of the victims, Ghanaian victims, coming from Ashanti region, Bono and Ahafo region, and also Western region. And then when you come to West Africa, we have some of the victims coming from Nigeria, Togo, Nigeria and Togo, and also Senegal.
And these are victims you are in constant communication with?
Exactly that. So since 2017, Jame to Justice Ghana Coalition have been engaging both the victims and survivors through our work, through investigations that we conducted in 5 West African countries. We identify about 3 survivors in addition to the sole survivor that we knew, Martin Shrek. So far we have about 4 survivors that we, through our work, we have identified. And then we also have the victims, their family members, some their children, wives, and also uncles and aunties that we have been engaging since 2017.
Okay. Now let's talk about the compensation. The coalition sees the 600,000 US dollars as woefully inadequate. Why so?
Exactly that. I think nothing, I want to say that nothing will really bring back life. So those who have lost their lives, who were brutally murdered by Yaya Jammeh and his accomplices, there is no way we will have them back. But appropriate compensation or reparation is very, very important. And the reason why Jame to Justice Coalition and the victims, survivors, and the victims' families are saying that the amount that the TRC recommended and it has been accepted by the government in its white paper is woefully inadequate in the sense that there was a case in Gambia where a media official was abused, and the case was sent to ECOWAS court. Parliament. And the court actually recommended, the least that the court recommended was 100,000 US dollars for the victim. This is someone who just suffered an abuse. So losing over 44 Ghanaians and others who suffered unlawful imprisonment, abuse, and all that, recommending just 600,000 a little over 600,000 USD is woefully inadequate. And that is why we are calling on the government of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his government to, as soon as possible, engage the Gambian government and start renegotiating for this amount because it's woefully inadequate, as we have stated, and also lay down modalities and measures to ensure that they get this reparation as soon as possible. And the reason we are recommending this as something that is urgent is that these are very vulnerable people, poor people, who have nothing. Some of them, because of what happened to them, their children have lost out on education, their parents have suffered a lot. And if there is a reparation, I think it's appropriate for the president to show a very serious interest in it and as soon as possible, ensure that the Gambian president starts paying this reparation to the victims as something that is urgent.
So what will be adequate or just enough to settle the victims and survivors?
Even though I'm not a victim, I think from experience and from what we have been observing in other countries, we know this is a poor West African country. Gambia is not a rich country, because if this had happened in Europe or States, I'm sure we'll be looking at millions of dollars. But looking at Gambia, we know they are also in economic difficulty. So the least that I will recommend is 100,000 USD per head. So we should be looking at with 56 victims. We should be looking at that over millions of dollars, so that the victims per victim, 100,000 USD, will be something that is moderately appropriate. At least, as I stated earlier, it will not bring back life, but at least something that they can also fall on, and then at least cushion them a little bit for the pain that they have suffered.
That will amount to some $6.6 million there. But since May this year, after the Gambian authorities accepted to pay the 600,000 US dollars, what steps do we know have been taken to enforce this payment?
So in the TRC report that the commission that was set up by the Gambian government, in their report, they indicated that for the reparation, the payment of reparation, they're going to engage government. So we were expecting that the government of Ghana, after the report, will actually call on the victims and the survivors and victims' families to engage them and then at least give information and show them that they are in touch with the Gambian government and they will ensure that justice is done them. Unfortunately, and that is very, very unfortunate, it seems the government is not interested in this issue. Over 44 Ghanaians brutally murdered, some suffered unlawful imprisonment, abuse, and a government is not interested in ensuring that justice is done its people. So since the report came out 2 months after the government also came out with its 6 months after the government of Gambia came out with its white paper accepting the recommendations. And for us, we are very happy that the government of Gambia accepted all the recommendations made by the TRC, want to confirm that Yaya Jammeh and his accomplices were responsible for the brutal murder of these victims, and also the payments of reparation. The government of Ghana is supposed to follow up through its Attorney General, through its Foreign Minister, should be able to begin engagement with the Gambian government and even the TRC to ensure that the necessary measures are put in place for these victims, poor people, to get this reparation.
So
and as I stated, unfortunately, the government has not shown any interest.
So what timelines? What timelines are we looking at here?
So since it stated that to be since the report that came out and the government white paper indicated that it's going to be government to government, there should be discussion between the two governments, that's the government of Ghana and that of Gambia, so that they can agree on timeline. Unfortunately, the government of Ghana has not shown any interest to engage, not that we know of. And we at Damage Justice Coalition are willing to facilitate whatever meeting the government is interested in having, so that we can ensure that justice is done to these poor victims.
Okay. Now, at this time of the day, aren't we too late in the day to be talking about a real look at the amount that the Gambian government should be paying?
Not at all. Not at all. I think discussions starting now will be very much appropriate, so that right from the beginning, the Gambian government will know that we are not happy with the amount that they have indicated in the report that it will be a reparation for the victims. so that in preparation, they will have that at the back of their minds, and whatever they can do to increase it to appreciable level, they will do that. So I don't think it's too early or it's too late. Not at all.
Okay. Regina Forioamonfo is project manager at the Jame to Justice Coalition at the CDD.